Hello guys, Dixon Amagove here again. Let's talk about construction. So there's a picture I posted on a group called Builders and Co-Creators, and a picture of a ceiling called Lamu style, and there are many people who are asking about it. How is it done? What is the procedure? What are the advantages? How is it designed? So the Lamu type of ceiling is just it's a ceiling like any other ceiling, but it's more of an aesthetic ceiling than a structural ceiling. So many people might confuse it with a slab to assume that it's actually taking the part of the slab, but it is just for aesthetic purposes. But in terms of design, it can be designed in two ways. It can be designed as a load bearing and as a non-load bearing type of a slab. But in most cases around the coast, if you have gone to Lamu, Malindi, Kilifi, those areas, you might find that in most buildings like hotels, they have that kind of ceiling in the hotels and rooms. So but in terms of the design, it can be designed in two ways. It can be designed to be a load bearing ceiling and a non-load bearing ceiling. So if you want to design it as a load bearing ceiling, you have to do it as a normal slab. You do it as a normal slab, and then you can have your aesthetics. But if you want to design it as a non-load bearing ceiling, you can just have the Lamu style, but you are not going to reinforce it. So the difference is that if you are doing it as a load bearing, you are going to reinforce it, and if you are doing it as a non-load bearing, you are not going to reinforce it. So but in terms of the design or how it is constructed, so the procedure is a bit complicated, but I'm going to try to break it down as simple as possible. So the first thing you do when you are doing the Lamu ceiling, you build there's a beam which you build. So the beam is going to be divided into three parts. We are going to have the first part, which we are going to cast. Like let's say if you have a beam of around 450, and you have divided it into three parts, that is 150, 150, 150. So we are going to have the first part, which we are going to cast. But remember, this time it's just a normal beam which is reinforced. So you are going to cast the first part. Then the second part, you are going to introduce the poles. So you're going to introduce the poles. You can space them at you can be not more than 1 meter. So you can space them at intervals of 1 meter or below, but depending also the size of pole that you are using for your project. So once you have arranged the poles and you have spaced them, the second thing that you are going to do, you are going to cast that part which the poles have occupied, so that the poles become intact. So you're going to cast, that is the second bit, you're going to cast all around so that the poles become intact. So after casting, the poles are now intact. Now we are remaining with the third part. Remember, we casted the first part, that is 150. You place the poles above that, the 150 layer that we casted, and then now we casted the layer that we have the pole. So we have casted like 300 part of the beam. Now we are remaining with 150. So once you have casted and the poles are intact at intervals of 1 meter, now what you are going to do is what we call hello guys, welcome again hapa. So this is part 2 for Lamu style ceiling, for those wenye walikuwa wameuliza, na because I think the first video I did, I think it's doing well and many people are really interested. So the first part we had reached mahali penye umekorogea the second the poles na ziko intact. So ukisha korogea the poles na ziko intact, what you do next, there's something we call Asian cloth. So Asian cloth is just like a net, lakini the partitions ziko very much smaller, ziko minute. So you get Asian cloth. Asian cloth per roll is around 20,000 na it's 20 meters long. So unapata Asian cloth, unaitandika. So the main reason for putting up the Asian cloth ina act two purposes. The first purpose ni ku hold up the cement, the concrete wakati unakoroga isiteremke, and then the second purpose ni wakati ukishamaliza kufanya your Lamu style ceiling huku chini, you just paint and then inabaki tu hivyo. So it's good for structurally and aesthetically. Now ukishamaliza kuweka Asian cloth, the next thing unafanya, kuna kitu inaitwa chicken wire. Unatandika chicken wire. Now chicken wire, its importance ni kwamba inasaidia kupatia ile Asian cloth ile strength ya kushikilia ile concrete wakati unakoroga. Remember hapa tukitumia Lamu style, it's not like the traditional type of ceiling yenye mtu anaweka shata, anakoroga, kimaliza anatoa. So hapa hii Asian cloth ndio ina act kama our formwork na our final type of ceiling. Ukishamaliza kuweka chicken wire, now this is where the difference comes in. This slab, remember as I said earlier, it can be a load bearing ama non load bearing. So kama hii slab ni load bearing, it will have to be designed as a normal load bearing slab. So which means kama ni chuma za D10 ama D12, utabidi utumie ufunge just the way tunafanya normal slab uweke. And then kama it's not a load bearing slab, you just pour your concrete. Let's say it's a ceiling slab yenye haibebi weight yoyote huko juu, so you just pour your concrete na you wait for 21 days and then inakauka. Another thing that you should not forget to do is about the black polythene paper. So before you pour, you must ensure that umeka hiyo black polythene paper, na ukifunga chuma sasa pia itasaidia kupatiana that stability. So those are the three important steps. The other steps ni normal. Now the other thing with the Lamu style ceiling, when you're working on it, you don't use a vibrator, because the vibrator ukitumia inaweza toboa ile black polythene na itakuwa utaenda hasara, kwa sababu sasa ile ikimwagika itakuwa hasara. Sasa you'll have to repeat that work. So and then the other thing you have to notice that your concrete, it has to be like more watery so that you don't need to vibrate it. So guys, for me, I've worked on Lamu ceiling Diani project. It was a 6-bedroom house. I think nimeshare hizo photos kuanzia wakati wenye tunaanza, wakati wenye tunaweka hizo poles. And then remember also the poles, they must be treated. So hizo poles unazitreat. And then these poles, when you are putting them, you kama let's say you don't have to repeat work, it's better unazitreat na unazipiga varnish kabla hujazipandisha huko juu kwa hiyo Lamu style ceiling. So guys, hiyo ndio Lamu style ceiling. Thank you, nadhani nimewaelezea most of it. Wenye walikuwa kuna maswali, some people wanasema it is a waste, but mostly at the coastal areas inapendwa kwa sababu ya beauty na iko na very low maintenance cost. So guys, thank you. Mkumbuke kusubscribe, kushare. That is the only way you can support me na kuni encourage niweze kuproduce more content. And I'm always available for questions, ama hata ukitaka maybe kuchorewa nyumba ama kujenga ama consultation, I'm free, I'm available. My number iko hapo kwa description. Feel free to call me and I'll assist you. Thank you.